Hello guys, it's been a long time since I've actually made a video. So today's video is a special video. It is a digital SAT practice test 3 past paper walkthrough. So I know many of you guys have the digital SAT exam coming up next month internationally. So hopefully this video has helped you all to understand the maths concepts much more better. And if you guys have enjoyed the video, please do like, share, and subscribe to the channel. It really helps a lot. And yeah, let's start with the video. All right. So for the digital SAT practice test 3, we're going to be going over all the questions. There's going to be two parts of the modules. So there's module 1, which has 27 questions, and module 2, which has approximately 27 questions as well. So we're going to be going over both module 1 and module 2 in this past paper walkthrough. So that's roughly about 54 questions in total in the digital SAT math exam. So this is just a sample digital SAT practice test. So the official test will be kind of similar, hopefully, to this exam. Okay, so let's start the video in this case. So the exams comprise of reading and writing, so we're just going to be moving on to the mathematics section here. So the mathematics section, as you guys can see, there's 27 questions, and this is module 1. Okay, so the directions is that the questions in this section address a number of important math skills. Use of a calculator is permitted for all questions. So by the way, for the digital SAT, you're allowed to use calculator in all the sections of both module 1 and module 2, so that's a big bonus. And there should be an inbuilt calculator during the time of your exam. That's either through the Blue Book app, so hopefully that can help you guys. Notes, unless otherwise indicated, all variables and expressions represent real numbers. Figures provided are drawn to scale. All figures lie in a plane. The domain of a given function f is the set of all the real numbers, x for which f of x is a real number. So you can see that this reference, they give you a reference sheet with all the formulas in it so that we can put there. They've given you the number of degrees of arc in a circle. It's 360. The number of radians of arc in a circle is 2 pi. The sum of the measures and degrees of the angles of a triangle is 180 degrees. So here you go. There's a formula sheet. It just gives you all the formulas of all the shapes and sizes. So let's start with the module 1. So module 1 is they're giving us a description here. For multiple choice, we have to just solve each problem. For student-produced response questions, you have to find more than one correct answer. This is very important that we go over this, is that if your answer is a fraction that is too long, over 5 characters for positive, 6 characters for negative, write the decimal equivalent. Okay, so in the time of the exam, if it's like 5 characters more, just write the decimal equivalent. And for your positive answer, you can go up to 5 characters. For negative answers, up to 6. And for decimals, over 5 characters for positive and 6 characters for negative. That's because in the digital SAT exam for the math, you're going to be typing in your responses, so just be careful. And if your answer is a mixed number, write it as an improper fraction or its decimal equivalent. Don't include symbols such as percent sign, comma, or dollar sign in your circled answer. So don't include the percent sign. Okay? So let's go over the questions. So the first question in module 1 is that k plus 12 equals 336. What is the solution to the given equation? Now this is a basic algebra question, so you're going to be just doing algebra here. So you're going to be doing 336 minus 12. So you're going to get k's value as 336 minus 12. I'm just going to be using the calculator here. So k is going to be equivalent to 324. So your answer here, hopefully you guys have to be typing in the responses or clicking on them. It really depends on the application you're using. So here the answer is 324. So choice B is correct. Okay. Question number 2. The function f is defined by f of x is equal to x raised to the power 3 plus 15. What is the value of f brackets 2? F of 2. So what you're going to do is you're going to substitute the value of 2 into this equation of f of x. So f of x, so f of 2 is equivalent to 2 raised to the power of 3 plus 15. This is another basic question in the AC and the SAT. Okay, so this should give you a value of 23. So here choice C should be the correct response. 23 is going to be answer. Question 3. Scene rents a tent at a cost of $11 per day plus a one-time insurance fee of $10. Which equation represents the total cost seen in dollars to rent the tent with insurance for the days? So here what we have to know is, since we have to analyze this question, since it's $11 per day, we know that the insurance is in days, right? So it's going to be 11 times D, which is going to give you 11D, plus a one-time insurance fee of $10. So 11D, right, plus $10. So this is the equation that we're going to be using for the total cost, right? So the total cost is going to be C is equivalent to 11D plus 10. So it's going to be option C in this case, again, for question 3. So it's going to be C is equivalent to 11D plus 10, okay? Okay. So question number 4, in this figure shown, line M is parallel to line N. What is the value of X? So since M and N are both parallel to each other, what we're going to do is we can use some of the rules of parallel lines that we know. We can use the collinear concept, in which these both add up to 180 degrees. The angles in both collinear lines, they both add up to 180 degrees. So X is going to become equivalent to 180 degrees minus 26 degrees. So X is equivalent to 180 minus 26. So it's going to be giving you 154 degrees. So for this 4th question, your answer is going to be D, 154 degrees. This is going to be your answer in this case. Okay. Now question number 5 is, John paid a total of $165 for a microscope by making a down payment of $37 plus P monthly payments of $16 each. Which of the following equations represents this situation? So again, now another question. So since he paid $165 for the total, so we know that the total value is going to be $165 by making a down payment of $37 plus P monthly payments of $16 each. So we know that this P monthly payments of $16 each is going to be 16P. So you're going to be putting 16P plus a down payment, right? So for making a down payment is going to be $37. Now this is going to be your expression. This is going to be your equation, which is going to represent this situation. So it's going to be 16P plus 37 is equivalent to 165. So your option is going to be C again. You're going to click on that. Okay. Question number 6. If y equals 5x plus 10, what is the value of y when x is equivalent to 8? So when x is equivalent to 8, what you're going to do is you're just going to substitute it into this equation. So you're going to get y is equivalent to 5 brackets 8 plus 10. And once you do that, you're going to be having the answer in this case as 50. So the value of y is going to be 50, right? So hopefully there should be a box there when you're using the Blue Book app. You just put the value of 50 inside. It should be all right. Question number 7. This is a graph-based question. Now the bar graph shows the distribution of 419 cans collected by 10 different groups for a food drive. How many cans were collected by group 6? So here we can see that there are 10 different groups, ranging from 10 different groups, which is 10 different bars. And we can see that the number of cans is on the y-axis and the group is on the x-axis. So what we're going to do is we have to find out how many cans were collected by group 6. So look at the bar graph of group 6. It's reaching to a number of cans of about 40. So this is more of an interpretation type question. So you can say that the number of cans in this case, your answer is just going to be 40. Okay? For question number 7. Question number 8. Now the table gives the distribution of votes for a new school mascot and grade level for 80 students. So you can see a table here. If one of these students is selected at random, what is the probability of selecting a student whose vote for a new mascot was for a line? So we can see that there's a table here. So we have to find out the probability of selecting a student whose vote for a new mascot was for a line. So in this case, for a line, if we see the lines table somewhere here, we can see that there's a lines table. So what we're going to do is, we know that the total vote for the line is 20. So it's 20 by total. Since one of these students are selected at random, we know that the total number of distribution of votes in grade level is for 80 students in total. So this is going to be 20 by 80, right? And the vote for the new mascot for the line is going to be 20 by 80. And when we simplify it, it becomes 1 by 4. So option C is going to be your answer, 1 by 4. Okay, so that's choice C. Yeah. Okay. Question number 9. Now this is another graph-based question. The graph represents the total charge in dollars by an electrician for X hours of work. The electrician charges a one-time fee plus an hourly rate. What is the best interpretation of the slope of the graph? So the best interpretation for the slope of the graph is that we can see that the graph represents the total charge in dollars by an electrician for X hours of work. So you can see that the electrician charges a one-time fee plus an hourly rate. So in this case, for the hourly rate, it's going to be the best interpretation. It's most likely going to be A, because it shows that it's the electrician's hourly rate, right? So option A is going to be your correct option. Now, the reason is because we can see that there's the electrician who charges a one-time fee plus an hourly rate. Now, it's also given that on the graph, we can see that it represents the total charge in dollars, right? We can see that in that case for X hours of work. It's just given in the question itself. So now this graph, it just shows us a linear, let's say, how do you say this? A linear relationship in the XY plane. So this makes the total charge, or let's say the Y in dollars, for X hours of work, it can be kind of represented using the Y equals mx plus c. This is where m is the slope of the graph and c is the y-intercept of the graph. So since the given graph, it represents the total charge in dollars by an electrician for X hours of work, it follows that its slope is m, or the electrician's hourly rate. Yeah, so that's it. And choice B, that's incorrect because the electrician's one-time fee is represented by the y-coordinate of the y-intercept, not the slope of the graph. Choice C is incorrect because it may result from conceptual errors. Choice D is also incorrect because it may result from conceptual errors as well. So choice A is going to be your most likely response. Question number 10. Square x has a side length. So square x, so we know that it is a square. It has a side length of 12 centimeters. So we know that it's going to be 12 cm. The perimeter of the square is 2 times the perimeter of, the perimeter of square y. So the perimeter of square y is going to be 2 times the perimeter of square x. What is the length in centimeters of one side of square of y? So for a perimeter, since we know that this is square x, we know that we can find out the perimeter of square x first. So the perimeter of square x is just going to be 12 times 4. I'm just going to be putting that in the calculator. So 12 times 4, this should give you 48 centimeters. And since we know that the perimeter of square of y is going to be 2 times the perimeter of square of x, so it's just going to be 2 times 48, which is going to give you a value of roughly 96 centimeters. Okay. Now they're asking us what is the length in centimeters of one side of square of y. So since we know that this is the total perimeter of y, we're just going to be dividing it by 4 sides of a square. So 96 divided by 4, that's going to be giving you 24 centimeters. So your option D is going to be the correct one. It's going to be 24 centimeters. That's going to be one side of the square of y. The square of y. Let's move on to the next question. Question number 11. What is the equation of the line that passes through the point 0, 5 and is parallel to the graph of y equals 7x plus 4 in the xy plane? Now, there's a lot of concepts going over here. There are 2 concepts that's mixed in this question. So the first thing is we have to know what the equation of the line is. So we know that the equation of a line is y equals mx plus c. All right? And we know that for parallel lines, since they've asked us to have parallel lines to the graph, we know that the gradient, or let's say the slope of both the lines, must be the same. So m is going to be 7, since the m So the slope here is 7. For the equation of this line, m is also going to be 7. So it's going to be y equals 7x plus c. Since we also know a point, it's 0, 5, we know that's x, y, and we're going to substitute both the values of x and y respectively in this equation. So it's going to be 5 is equal to 7 bracket 0 plus c, and we're going to find out the value of c, which is going to be 5. So your answer is going to be y equals 7x plus 5. So in this options, it's going to be option B. So y equals 7x plus 5. Since we know that the slope of two parallel lines are going to be equivalent to each other, so that's why we're going to get y equals 7x plus 5. 11b. Question number 12, let's move on to that question. In the linear function h, h to 0 is equal to 41, h to 1 is 40. What equation defines h? So what people would do is they would just substitute the values accordingly of h. So I mean, we can try that out. So let's start with the first equation. So here that's most likely what I'm also going to be doing. So x is equivalent to 0. So we know that we're going to try with the first equation here. So I'm just going to be actually labeling this correctly. So this is first equation. So we're going to try by the first method. So h is equal to 0 is equal to negative 0 plus 41, which is giving you 41. That's accurate. H to 1 is equivalent to negative 1 plus 41. Okay, if you put this in your calculator, it's giving you H to 1, negative 1 plus 41. It's giving you 40. So that's correct. So it seems that option A's equation is giving us both correct answers for the value of h, or the x values of both x values as 0 and 1. So we're just most likely going to be choosing A. But during the real exam, it's 12A, okay? That's going to be answer. During the real exam, I would like you guys to plug in all the values of x here and check all four options, A, B, and C, and D. Okay, so for question number 13, what we're going to be doing is that we can see that there's a function, right? Function f of t is equivalent to 60,000 brackets 2 raised to the power of t divided by 410, which gives us the number of bacteria in a population t minutes after an initial observation. Now, how much time in minutes does it take for the number of bacteria in the population to double? Now, for this type of question, what we're going to be doing is that we can see that since it's given to us that it's t minutes after an initial observation, that the number of bacteria in a population is 60,000 brackets 2 raised to the power of t raised to the power, 60,000 brackets 2 raised to the power of t divided by 410. We can see that this expression, it consists of an initial number of bacteria, which is, we can see that there is 60,000. It is 60,000 multiplied by the expression of 2 raised to the power of t divided by 410. And we can see that the time it takes for the number of bacteria to double is the increase in the value of t that causes the expression 2 raised to the power of t divided by 410, which will double when the exponent increases by 1. So since the exponent of the expression 2 raised to the power of t divided by 410, which is the t divided by 410, is the exponent, when the exponent will increase by 1 is only when t increases by 410. So therefore, the time in minutes it takes for the number of bacteria in the population to double is this value, 410. This is going to be the amount of time it takes for the number of bacteria in the population to double. So 410 is going to be our answer in this case. Now let's move on to the next question. Question number 14 is that the function f is defined by f of x is equivalent to x minus 6 in brackets, x minus 2 in brackets, x plus 6 in brackets. And we can see that in the xy plane, the graph of y equals g of x is the result of translating the graph of y equals f of x up 4 units. What is the value of g, which is in brackets 0? So in this case, we can see that there are two functions, okay? So y equals g of x is a result of translating the graph of y equals f of x up by 4 units. And we have to find out the value of what happens when x becomes 0. So since it's given that the graph of y equals g of x is a result of translating the graph y equals f of x up by 4 units in the xy plane, it shows us that the graph of y equals g of x is the same as the graph of y equals f of x plus 4. So we can see that since it's resulting in a translation of up by 4 units, we can say that y equals f of x plus 4. We can write it down in that form. Okay, let me just write it down clearly for you guys. Y equals f of x plus 4. Now this one, it gives us that y, right? It gives us that g of x is equivalent to f of x plus 4. Now it's given that we can see that there's an equation given for f of x. So what we're going to do is we're going to substitute these values here for f of x, right, in the equation here. Okay, so equation 1, we're going to substitute the values in equation 1 to the values of equation 2. Okay, so that's going to be g of x, right? So when we substitute into the equation, it gives us that g of x is equivalent to x minus 6 brackets x minus 2 brackets x plus 6 plus 4. Now if you substitute 0 for x equals, let me just write it down here. So if you substitute x as 0, since they've given g is in the brackets of 0, right? Since we have to substitute that, since you substitute the value of x as 0, it's going to be equivalent to 0 minus 6 bracket 0 minus 2 bracket 0 plus 6 plus 4, which should give you the value. In this case, you just substitute all of these values in your calculator. By the way, when you're putting the value of brackets, do put the multiplication symbol just in case to get the approximate values in this case. Okay, plus 4. Okay, you should be getting the value of g of x to 0 as 76. So 76 is going to be your answer for question number 14. Okay, question number 15. A candle is made of 17 ounces of wax. When the candle is burning, the amount of wax in the candle decreases by 1 ounce every 4 hours. If 6 ounces of wax remain in this candle, for how many hours has it been burning? So a candle is made of 17 ounces of wax. Okay, we know that it's 17 ounces of wax. When the candle is burning, the wax decreases by 1 ounce every 4 hours. So 1 ounce if 6 ounces of wax remain in the candle, how many hours has it been burning? So I'm just going to try something. We can see that it decreases by 1 ounce every 4 hours. So if it's 6 ounces, okay, so since we know that it's 6 ounces, we're going to just cross multiply it. So we're going to be doing the cross multiplication method. So it's 6 times 4, which is going to give you the value of 24 hours it has been burning for. So answer C is going to be the correct one for question number 15. No, wait, hold up. If it's 24 hours, because it starts with 17 ounces of wax. Wait, hold up, guys. Sorry, it's not going to be C in this case. It's not going to work like this. Actually, we're going to be using this approach. We have to use a better approach in this case. Okay, this is an inaccurate version of it. Okay, sorry guys. So it's given to us that the candle starts with 17 ounces of wax, and it has 6 ounces of wax that's remaining after a period of time has passed. So what we're going to be doing the correct way. The amount of wax that the candle has lost during this time period, we can find it by subtracting the remaining amount of wax from the amount of wax that the candle was made of, which yields. So meaning that we're going to be doing 17 ounces minus 6 ounces, all right? I just read the question now. Okay, 17 ounces. Yeah, I have to just read the question more properly so we can give a better explanation. So what I should have done is I should have read the question properly. So this time I'm reading the question properly before explaining it. So the candle is made of 17 ounces. So we can see that there are 17 ounces. So 17 minus 6 is going to be giving you 11 ounces. Okay? This means that the candle loses 11 ounces of wax during that period of time. Now it's given to us that the amount of wax decreases, let's say, by 1 ounce every 4 hours. So since we know like if H represents the number of hours that the candle has been burning, we can say that for every 1 ounce per every hour, so we can write it down like this. I'm going to write the ratio now correctly. For every 1 ounce, okay? For every 1 ounce, every 4 hours, we can see that there's a ratio for every 11 ounces, right? every 11 ounces to the number of hours. So now it's going to be, the ratio is going to be 1 to 4, which is equivalent to 11 by H. So now when we do this, we're going to find out, actually, yeah, we don't need to use this ratio form. Since we know the number of ounces is supposed to be 11 ounces, this is the correct way of solving it. We're going to cross multiply again, so 11 times 4, which is going to give you 44 hours, okay? So option D is going to be your correct answer in this case. Since you know that the candle is made of 17 ounces of wax, 6 ounces are remaining. How many hours has it been burning? You find out 11 ounces, you multiply it by 4 hours, and you should be getting 44 hours. And choice D is going to be the correct option for question number 15, okay? Okay, that's the correct way of solving it. Sorry, guys. Question number 16. The given equation relates the numbers j, k, and m. Which equation correctly expresses k in terms of j and m? So what they mean by is make k the subject of the formula. So you're going to be writing down the same formula again. 14j plus 5k is equivalent to m. So 5k is equivalent to m minus 14j. So k is equivalent to m minus 14j divided by 5. Okay? So here we can see they've given you two options here, so be careful of which one you pick. Be really careful when you pick the answers. Choice A is going to be the closest and is the correct answer. So k is equal to m minus 14j divided by 5. Okay? Alright. Question number 17. Question number 17 is that the triangle FGH is similar to triangle JKL, where angle F corresponds to angle J, and angles G and K are right angle triangles. So if sine F is equal to 308 divided by 317, what is the value of sine J? For this type of question, since we know that these two triangles are similar and their corresponding angles are congruent, we can say that it's given that the right angle FGH, right? That the right triangle, sorry, it's given that the right triangle FGH is similar to the right triangle JKL. And angle F corresponds to angle J, and angles G and K are right angles. So what I would like to do is I would like to draw both these triangles. That's the best thing we can do, is draw both these triangles. And we know that angles G and K are right angles triangles, right? So we're going to write down here G, and you can write this down K. And since we know, right, it follows that angle F is congruent to angle J. So therefore the angle of F should be the equal measure of angle of J. So it's going to be F, we're just going to be writing this down properly. So it's going to be FGH, it's going to be JKL. Alright, so if sine of F is equal to that, what is the sine of J? So we have to find out the sine of F. So since these ratios are equivalent to each other, the sine ratios of the angles of equal measures are equal. So since the measure of angle F is equivalent to the measure of angle J, we're going to be writing down as sine F is equivalent to sine of J. So instead of writing this down as sine of F, we're going to be writing this down as sine of J is equivalent to 308 divided by 317. So in this case, they're asking you to find out what the value of J is. So if you put this in your calculator, let me just see if it simplifies it for us. Okay, they don't simplify it here. So since they don't simplify it, we have just found out the answer, because since we know if sine F is equal to 308 divided by 317, and we know F corresponds to angle J, and angles J and K are right angle triangles, and at the same, angles G and K are right angles, we know that triangle FGH is similar to triangle JKL. So therefore, the answer is going to be 308 divided by 317. This is going to be the value of sine of J. So option B is going to be your correct answer. Now, question number 18. The product of two positive integers is 546. If the first integer is 11 greater than twice the second integer, what is the smaller of the two integers? Okay. So you can see that the product of two positive integers, so we're just going to visualize it. The product of two positive integers is 546. If the first integer is 11 greater than twice a second if the first integer is 11. Okay, we have to visualize this properly. Then twice a second integer. So we know that the first integer, what is the smaller of the two integers? So since we know, we can say that let x be the first integer, alright? So let x be the first integer. So we're just going to be writing this down again. So we're going to say that let x be equivalent to the first integer, okay? And let y be equivalent to the second integer, okay? Now, since we know that if the first integer is 11 greater than twice the second integer, then we know that x is going to be equivalent to x is going to be equivalent to 2y, right? The second integer plus 11. So it's 11 greater than twice the second integer. And if the product of these two integers is 546, so then we know that x times y, the product of these two positive integers, is 546. All we need to do is just substitute the value of x into this equation and find out the value of y in this case. So you have 2y plus 11, brackets all y is equivalent to 546. So it's going to be 2y squared plus 11y minus 546 equals 0. Now this is a quadratic equation in this case. So what you're going to be doing is you're going to be substituting these values into your calculator. By the way, do check out the calculator video. It has steps on how to solve the quadratic equation in your calculator. So once you do that, you should be getting two values. One is negative and one is positive. So you're getting two values for y. y1 is 14. y2 is going to be equivalent to negative 39 by 2. So leave the value of the negative value. Get it? And use the positive. So y is going to be 14. Okay? So your answer, what is the smaller of the two integers, is going to be 14. So 14 is a positive value, so you're going to keep the positive value. So B is going to be your correct answer. Okay? Okay. Question number 19. Which point xy is a solution to the given system of the inequalities in the xy plane? Now, this is an inequalities question. So we can see that the point x and y, we can say that this is a solution to a system of inequalities in the xy plane. So if we substitute the values, right, we have to start by substituting the values. So we're going to start by a, b, c, okay? And we're going to be using that technique, x comma y. Since x is negative 14, if you do negative 14, right, if you do negative 14 plus 7, okay, negative 14, let me just test it, negative 14 plus 7, right, this should be giving you a value of about negative 7, and your y value is less than negative 7, so this is false. A is false, B is false, C is false, okay? When you substitute it into these equations, all three of these options are false. Whereas for D, if we substitute the value of D, in this case, x comma y, right? y0 less than equal to 14 plus 7. 0 is less than equal to 14 plus 7, which is correct. It's 21. And if you try the other way around, 0 greater than equal to negative 2, brackets 14 minus 1. 0 is greater than equal to negative 2, brackets 14, minus negative 1. If you put that in your calculator, you should be getting negative 29. So these two answers are correct for both these two equations. So option D is going to be your correct answer in this case. It's going to be option D in this case for question number 19. Okay, you just substitute the values of x and y accordingly and just check which one's correct and which one's false. Question number 20. What is the smallest solution to the given equation? So for this one, is when we're solving this, right, we have to look at the fastest way we can answer this. So squaring both sides, okay, if we square both sides of the equation, the square root should actually cancel. Let me just write this down for you guys. Square root x minus 2 square is equivalent to square root 3x plus 34. So if we square this, these two squares should cancel out each other. So which gives you x minus 2 brackets square is equivalent to 3x plus 34. Okay? Now, which can be rewritten as x minus 2. Okay, if we write this down properly, 3x plus 34, x squared minus 2x plus 4 is equivalent to 3x plus 34 if you just expand the brackets. Okay, if you do that, I'm just going to be solving this quickly. So negative 2 minus 2 plus 3 should be giving you negative x. 4 minus 34 should be giving you negative 30. So going to 0. Okay. So if you do this correctly, sorry, let me just check this again. If you do negative 2 minus 2 plus minus 3, it should be giving you negative 7x. Sorry. Yeah, just do this carefully, guys. Should be giving you negative 7x. Now, if you substitute this quadratic equation into the calculator, you should be getting two values for x. Okay? Two values for x. So you should be getting x as the value of x1 is equivalent to 10. x2 is equivalent to negative 3, which is the smallest solution. So the smallest solution here is negative 3. Negative 3 is less than 10. Okay? So that's why negative 3 is going to be your smallest solution. So you're going to be your answer is going to be negative 3 for question number 20. Okay, question number 21. The regular price of a shirt at a store is $11.70. Sorry, not 0.70. Don't say it like that. Sorry. The regular price of a shirt at a store is $11.70. The sale price of a shirt is 80% less than the regular price, and the sale price is 30% greater than the store's cost for the shirt. What was the store's cost in dollars for the shirt? So, since we know that the sale price, since we know that the sale price in this case is 80% less than the regular price, and the sale price is 30% greater than the store's cost for the shirt. So what we're going to be doing is that since it's given to us that the regular price of a shirt at the store is $11.70, right? Sorry guys, 11.7, and the sale price of the shirt is 80% less than the regular price. So we're going to say that it follows that the sale price of the shirt is going to be $11.70, okay, times brackets 1 minus 80 divided by 100. This is because the keyword is less. Okay? And when you substitute this is equivalent to, when you substitute this value in your equation here, 11.70 times brackets 1 minus 80 divided by 100. Yeah, okay. When you do that, you should be getting $2.34 as the equivalent. So now it's also given to us that the sale price of a shirt is 30% greater. Since this is greater, what we're going to be doing is that since it follows it, right? So we can say that it's greater than the store's cost for the shirt. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to put X, which is going to be equivalent to the store's cost for the shirt. Okay, store's cost in dollars for the shirt, which is going to be X times 1 plus 30 divided by 100, which is equivalent to $2.34. Okay, and when you substitute this, you should be getting when you substitute all of this, 1 plus 30 divided by 100, what the value is in your calculator, you're going to be dividing that. Okay, so it's going to be X is equivalent to 2.34 divided by 1.3, which should give you a value of roughly, if you calculate it, should be giving you a value of 1.8. So this is the store's cost in dollars for the shirt. So X is equivalent to $1.8. Okay, you just put the value. So the correct answer here is 1.8 for question number 21. Okay. Question number 22. A sample of oak has a density of 807 kilograms per cubic meter. The sample is in the shape of a cube. Okay, so we know that this is a cube where each edge has a length of 0.9 meters. To the nearest whole number, what is the mass in kilograms of the sample? So for this question, what we're going to be doing is that we know that the sample of oak has density. Density symbol is this, 807 kilograms per cubic meter. Okay, so since we know that it's 80 as kilograms per cubic meter, so what we're going to be doing is we're going to be analyzing this question properly. So the density's unit is going to be kilograms per cubic meter. So since we know that's 80, what we're going to be doing is we know that the sample is in the shape of a cube. Okay, so it's given to us that the sample is in the shape of the cube with the edge lengths as 0.9 meters. So therefore we have to know the volume of the sample. So therefore the volume of the sample is going to be 0.90 meters, which is going to be raised to the power of 3. This is going to be the volume of the sample. Okay, since it's in the shape of the cube, this is how we're going to find out the volume of the sample. So the volume of the sample is going to be 0.729. Since we know that the volume of the sample is that, we are also given that the sample has a density of 807 kilograms per 1 cubic meter. And therefore, the mass of the sample, we know that there's a formula of density and mass, is that density is equivalent to the mass, more likely, therefore the mass of the sample is going to be the volume, mass and volume. I think it's like this. Let me just search up the density formula mass. Okay, let me just search up the density mass volume formula so that we know that we're doing this correctly. So the density mass volume, okay, so the formula is like this. Okay, so the formula is going to be density. I'm just going to write it down here. So do remember the formulas when you're doing this. So density formula, I'm just going to reload this screen again. The density formula is going to be equivalent to the mass divided by the volume. Okay, so since we have to find out the mass, it's going to be the density times the volume. So that's pretty straightforward. So we know that the mass is density, which is given to us as 807. That's just going to be multiplied by the volume, 0.729. Your mass is going to be 807. So do remember the formulas here. 807 times 0.729 is going to give you 588.303. Now, since we have to know the mass, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be rounding this mass to the nearest whole number. So this is going to give us 588 kilograms. So therefore, to the nearest whole number, the mass in kilograms of this sample is going to be 588. So your answer is going to be option A. Option choice A is going to be the correct answer for question number 22. Okay, let's move on to the next question. Question number 23. Okay, so question number 23 is interesting. Okay, so for x which is greater than 0, the function f is defined as follows. F of x is equivalent to 201% of x. Which of the following could describe this function? So they're asking us to describe this function. This is defined as 200%. So since it's given to us that x is greater than 0, and f of x is equivalent to 201% of x, we can see that this is equivalent to, let's say, f of x, which is equivalent to 201% times x, okay? And we know that this is going to be f of x, which is going to be 2.01x for where x is greater than 0 when we write it in this form. So this function, it indicates that as x increases, f of x also increases, which means that f is an increasing function. So it's going to be an increasing linear function. So that's going to be option choice D, right? Choice D is going to be the correct answer for question number 23. The reason why also is that furthermore, f of x increases at a constant rate of 2.01. Okay, so for each increase of x by 1. And we can see that the function with a constant rate of change is linear, right? So since f of x increases at a constant rate of 2.01 for each increase of x by 1, the function f can be described as an increasing linear function, okay? So it's going to be option choice D. Choice D is going to be the correct answer for question number 23. Okay, question number 24. Interesting question. The rational function f is defined by an equation in the form f of x is equivalent to a divided by x plus b, where a and b are constant. The partial graph of y equals f of x is shown. If g of x is equal to f of x plus 4, which equation could define the function g? Okay, so you can see that this is a graph. Okay, so for this one, we're going to look at how we're going to be solving this. So since it's given to us that f of x is equivalent to a divided by x plus b, what we're going to do is, and that the graph is shown as a partial graph of y is equivalent to f of x. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be substituting y for f of x in this equation, okay? And for y for f of x, so it's going to become y is equivalent to a divided by x plus b. Now we also know that the graph, right, we can assume that the graph is passing through the points 7, 2. In this case, we can use some of the points here from the graph. -7, 2. Yeah, we can use that. We can use this point here. We're going to take one point here, and this is going to be -7, -2. We're going to use this point -7, -2. Since we know that the graph is passing through that point, we're going to be substituting the value. We're going to be substituting -7 for x, since it's x, y. And we're going to be substituting -2 for y in this equation. So -2 is going to be equivalent to a divided by x, which is -7 plus b. This is going to give us this form of the equation. Now we're going to be multiplying each side of this equation by -7 plus b. So we're just going to be multiplying it here, -7 plus b, which is equivalent to a, which is going to be giving you 14 plus 2b is equivalent to a, okay? So when you do that, you're going to be getting this equation now. And the graph also passes through the point. We're going to, technically what we're going to be doing is we're going to be forming two equations based on two given points, okay? Just choose the most reasonable point you can find. So we're going to be using the point -5, -6 as well. Here, I'm going to be just doing the same steps again. So -5, -6. It's x and y, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to be just doing the same thing again. -6 is equivalent to a divided by x, -5 plus b. -6 brackets -5 plus b is equivalent to a. So it's going to become 30 minus 6b is equivalent to a. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be using the elimination method. So this is two simultaneous equations. So hopefully you guys have learned how to solve this. So 14 plus 2b is equivalent to a. 30 minus 6b is equivalent to a. So we have two equations, right? Since we have two equations here, we're going to be substituting 14 minus, oh yeah, sorry guys, by the way, it's a minus 2b, it's not a positive 2b, so really need to be careful when opening the brackets. So now we have two equations, so we're going to be substituting 14 minus 2b for a in this equation, okay, which is going to be helping us to find out what b could be as well. So it's going to be 14 minus 2b, which is equivalent to 30 minus 6b. So it's just 14 minus 30 is equivalent to -6b plus 2b. Okay, when you do this, this is all basic algebra. Okay, you should be getting -4b is equivalent to 14 minus 30, which is giving you -16. B is going to be equivalent to 16 divided by 4 because the negatives cancel out each other. B is 4, and your A value is going to be A is equivalent to 14 minus 2 brackets 4 minus 2 brackets 4. So 14 minus 2 brackets 4 in the calculator. Actually, we're giving you the value of A as 6. So A is 6 and B is 4. And we've just found it out. We know that since this is the equation, we know that f of x is equivalent to a, which is 6, divided by x plus 4. So if we just found it out from two equations, we can either solve it through elimination, and we can find out the values of a and b individually, or you can use substitution method. So the method I've used here is going to be substitution method, okay? So we're going to just substitute the values and just find a and b accordingly here. So option B is going to be your correct answer. Sorry, option, is it option B or C? B or C? We have to be careful when we're substituting these values. We get B as 4, okay? And the value of A. Oh yeah, by the way, when we do this, we have to be careful. It's shown that g of x, the values of x has been added by 4. So what many people would be doing is that they would be choosing the option B, which is not correct. Don't choose option B. They've given you another equation. If g of x is equal to f brackets x plus 4. So the x coordinates are added by 4. So what we're going to do is we're going to add 4 here again. So f of x is equivalent to 6 divided by x plus 4 plus 4. That's going to give you a value of 8. Now this is going to be your final answer. It's going to be f of x, which is going to be equivalent to 6 divided by x plus 8. So choice C is going to be your correct answer in this case, where g of x, right? G of x is equivalent to 6 divided by x plus 8. This is going to be your new equation, okay? So that's option C, option choice C. Yeah, it's g of x is equivalent to 6 divided by x plus 8. We're just going to be writing that down properly, x plus 8. So g of x is equivalent to x divided by x plus 8. Option C is going to be your, option choice C is going to be correct answer for question number 24. Okay, so question number 25. So in this question number 25, it's asking us which expression is equivalent to y plus 12 divided by x minus 8 plus y brackets x minus 8 divided by x squared y minus 8xy. Now for this one, usually what people will do is they would multiply both the numerator and the denominators respectively for both hand sides. Basically what you have to do is, first of all, the best solution you can do is you're going to factorize the denominator in the second term of the given expression. So what you're going to do is you're going to do it like this. Let me just write it down here. You're going to write it down as y plus 12 divided by x minus 8 plus y brackets x minus 8 divided by, we're going to factorize this part here. So it's going to be xy brackets x minus 8. Okay, so it's going to be xy brackets x minus 8. Now this expression, it can be rewritten in, let's say, with common denominators by multiplying the first term by xy divided by xy. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to completely multiply out the whole part of the equation. So what you're going to do is you're going to multiply this part by xy. So what I mean by that is going to become xy brackets y plus 12, right? Let me just write it down somewhere where there's more space. Okay, so I'm just going to be writing down here. Okay, so we have xy brackets y plus 12 divided by xy brackets x minus 8 plus y brackets x minus 8 divided by xy brackets x minus 8. So now what you're going to be doing now is that you're going to be rewriting this with common denominators, right? By multiplying the first term by xy divided by xy. Now this is going to give you this form of equation. Now adding these two terms, it's going to yield this equation. So when you add both these terms, it's going to be xy brackets y plus 12. This is the most easiest way of doing this equation, and it's the most best way of solving this equation. Okay, and now all you just need to do is just combine the like terms in the numerator and just expand this out. So when we expand this out, it's just going to become xy squared plus 12xy plus xy minus 8y divided by x squared y minus 8xy. So combine the like terms, so it becomes xy squared plus 13xy minus 8y divided by x squared y minus 8xy. So depending on the answer choices given here, it's going to be option choice C because that's the most closest it's resembling. Okay, the answer is going to be option C. Xy squared plus 13xy minus 8y divided by x squared y minus 8xy. So it's going to be 25. It's going to be option choice C for question number 25. Okay, let's move on to the next question. Now, the next question is that you can see that the table shows the results of a poll. A total of 803 voters selected at random were asked which candidate they would vote for in the upcoming election. According to the poll, if about 6,424 people vote in the election, by how many votes would Angel Cruz be expected to win? So Angel Cruz here has a poll results of about 483. Terry Smith here has about poll results as 320. Okay. So what we're going to be doing is that since it's given to us that it's 483 out of 803 voters responded that they would vote for Angel Cruz, therefore the proportion of voters from the poll who have responded that they would vote for Angel Cruz is going to be 483 by 803, right? And what we're going to do is that since it's also given that there are a total of 6,424 voters in the election, so therefore the total number of people who would be expected to vote for Angel Cruz would be, we just need to multiply this value, multiply it by, so technically what we need to do is we just need to do 483 divided by 803 multiplied by 6,424. This should give you a value of the proportions. Okay, so the answer, if you put this in a calculator, you should be getting roughly 3,864. Okay, so since you do this, this is not going to be the final answer. This is going to be, since this is 3,864, this is of the 6,424 total voters that would be expected to vote for Cruz. However, it follows that we have to subtract this. Right? So we have to find out those voters who won't be expected to vote for Angel Cruz. So what I mean by that is when we subtract this 6,424 minus 3,864, put that in the calculator. So you should be getting roughly 6,424 minus 3,864, roughly 2,560. These are the number of voters, 2,560. These are the number of the voters that would be expecting not to vote for Angel Cruz. Now, the difference in the number of votes for and against Angel Cruz is that we have to subtract the votes accordingly. So what we have to do is we have to subtract 3,864 minus 2,560 to find out how many votes this is, right? By how many votes. So it's written by how many votes would Angel Cruz be expected to win. So he would be expected to win by roughly 1,304 votes. So that's going to be option B here, right? Option B is going to be your answer for question number 26. It's going to be 1,304. Now, a little more explanation on this is that since we have found the difference in the number of votes for and against Angel Cruz, right? Therefore, if 6,424 people vote in the election, Angel Cruz would be expected to win by 1,304 votes. So what we have done is we have multiplied the values and we have found out who are the total number of people who would be expected to vote for Angel Cruz. And then we found out, since through the multiplication, that it's 3,864 people would be expected to vote for Angel Cruz. That's a value, 3,864. Then the next step is that we subtract this 3,864 from 6,424 to find out the number of voters who won't be expected to vote for Angel Cruz. So that's what we're doing here when we're solving this type of question. And now the difference in these number of votes, right, between the people who vote and the people who are not expected to vote. This one will give us how many votes Angel Cruz would be expected to win. So that's how we get the answer 1,304, which is option choice B for question number 26. Okay. All right, so let's move on to the final question for the module 1, which is question number 27. Now we can see that the graph of x squared plus the graph of x squared plus x plus y squared plus y is equal to 199 divided by 2 in the xy plane is a circle. What is the length of the circle's radius? So for this type of question, we have to know the circle equation, right? So the circle equation given to us, right? If we know what the circle equation is, it's actually x minus h brackets, okay? X minus h brackets raised to the power of square plus y minus k brackets raised to the power of square is equal to r square. Okay, now since the graph is given to us that it's in the xy plane is a circle, we know that the equation of a circle in the xy plane can be written as in this form: x minus h square plus y minus k square is equal to r square, where the coordinates of the center of the circle is h comma k, and the length of the radius of the circle, right? So we're just going to be writing down that this is the center of the circle, okay? That this is the center of the circle, and this is the length of the radius. So since this is the length of the radius, we know that r is the radius of the circle. Now this term x minus h square in this equation, it can be either obtained by adding the square of half the coefficient of x to both sides of the given equation in order to complete the square. So now since the coefficient of x is 1, right? Since we know that the coefficient of x is 1, what we can do is that we can half the coefficient of x, which is given to us by half. So what we do is, if we do the square of half the coefficient of x, which makes it 1 by 4. So when we do this accordingly, what we're trying to do is that we're trying to find out the circle's radius, the proper notation form of the circle's radius. So either you can do this by completing the square. I've seen some people do completing the square methods for usually circle equations. So what we're going to do is we're going to be trying to do circle equation style questions here, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to be doing that method, okay? So you're going to group these terms. So x squared plus x, right? We're going to group it together, plus y squared plus y is equal to 199 divided by 2. Okay? So since we know that term x minus h squared, it can be obtained either by adding the square of half the coefficient of x to both sides of the given equation to complete the square. So since we know the coefficient of x is 1, we're going to half it again. And we know that the square to half the coefficient of half is 1 by 4, right? If you divide it, let me just put that in the calculator just to check that. Yeah, 1 by 4. So what we're going to do is we're going to add 1 by 4. So we're going to be adding how we found out, since the coefficient of x is 1, we're going to be dividing it by 2 to find out half. And we're going to half again the square of half the coefficient of x is 1 by 4. And we're going to be adding this to the side, actually to the side of x squared plus x, and the side of where it shows 199 divided by 2. Okay? So we're going to just do the same process again. Okay, we're just going to be doing the same process again now to find out how y minus k squared can be found as well. So we're going to be doing this individually, okay? So this is what we're going to be doing. First, we're going to be finding out what we're going to be finding, right? We're going to be finding x minus h squared. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing x squared plus x plus 1 by 4, okay? Plus y squared plus y is equivalent to 199 divided by 2 plus 1 by 4, okay? Or what you can be doing is either you can be halving it. So since you know that it's the half of that, you can either do this. Actually, this method is the most preferable method that you can use in this case. So what I'm doing is you can either write it down like this when you're finding x minus h squared, or you could write it down as this. You can write it down as x plus half, since we know that the half of coefficient of x is 1, which results to half, right? So the half of the coefficient 1, which is of x, the half of 1 is half. So we know that x plus half is going to be squared plus y squared plus y plus 1 by 4, right? Sorry, we don't add quarter there, okay? Plus y squared plus y is equal to 199 divided by 2. I feel that this is the most best form when we're finding out x minus h. So preferably I would advise you guys to use this way, okay? And now when we're trying to find out y minus k raised to power square, what we're going to be doing is that we're going to be adding the half to, let's say, to the y side, okay? So since we have added and we have not changed that, similarly, in order to obtain this next term, we can add the square of half the coefficient of y to both sides of the equation, okay? So what that means is you're going to be doing x plus half square plus y, right, from this equation, plus half x, right? You can see that, okay? And then you do y plus half square is equal to 199 divided by 2, plus you're going to double the quarters that is added, okay? You're just going to double the quarters added. And this form will help us to obtain y minus k square, okay? So when you do this, this equation is generally equivalent to roughly 100, right? When you do this, when you do both sides, we're going to get a final equation. So that should give us x plus half square plus y plus half square. So if we plug these values into the calculator, we should be getting roughly, let's say, 100. If you add all these values, 199 divided by 2 plus double quarters, you should be getting 100 as the value there. Once you do that, since we have to only find out the length of the circle's radius, we know that it's going to be equivalent to 100. So since we know that it's r squared is equal to 100, r is going to be the square root of 100, which is going to give us, if you put the square root of 100 into your calculators, it should give you 10. The radius length is going to be 10 here. Okay, so therefore the length of the circle's radius is going to be 10. Hopefully this explanation has helped you guys to understand this part of the question, but do revise the circle equations part. That's the most important part of this topics as well. All I've done is I've just taken r squared is equal to 100, just square root 100, and you get 10 as the radius. Okay? Now, let's move on to module 2. So, module 2 is the same story. Okay, so this is module 2. So module 2 is the same thing. It's just a continuation of module 1. It just becomes module 2, and it also has 27 questions. It has the same formula sheet given to you guys, and yeah, same examples, and let's just solve it. Okay. Question number 1. Isabel grows potatoes in her garden. This year she had harvested about 760 potatoes and saved 10% of them to plant next year. How many of the harvested potatoes did Isabel save to plant next year? So what you're going to do is, since that she saved about 10% of the potatoes she's harvested, you can either do 10% of 760. So that's the first thing that you guys can do. I'm just going to be using the calculator here. You guys can use your calculators to check the answer. So it's going to become 76. So 76, choice B, is going to be your answer for question number 1. Question number 2, you can see a graph again. What is the y-intercept of the graph shown? So this is analysis question again. So since we know it's x comma y, wherever it crosses the y-intercept on the y-axis, that becomes your y-intercept for the graph. So it's going to be 0 comma 2. So your answer again is going to be choice B. It's going to be the answer for question number 2. So it's going to be 0 comma 2. It's just interpretation and reading from the graph. Question number 3, what length in centimeters is equivalent to a length of 51 meters? So 51 meters, all we have to do is just multiply it by 100. So 51 times 100, that should give you roughly, in terms of centimeters, 5,100. So your answer is just going to be cm. Your answer is just going to be option C for question number 3. Okay, straightforward. Question number 4, a bus is traveling at a constant speed along a straight portion of road. The equation d equals 30t gives us the distance d in feet from a road marker that the bus will be t seconds after passing the marker. How many feet from the marker will the bus be 2 seconds after passing the marker? So since we have known that the bus is traveling at a constant speed, and we know that the equation is given to us that d is equivalent to 30t, and it gives us the distance d in feet from a road marker, and they've given us what t stands for, it's seconds after the passing marker. How many feet will the bus be after 2 seconds after the passing marker? So all you need to do is just do 30 times 2 seconds, since they're giving you as time is equivalent to 2 seconds. So all you're going to do is you're just going to multiply 30 times 2. That should give you roughly about 60. 60 should be answer, equals 60. So your distance, how many feet from the marker, it's going to be 60. So for question number 4, choice C is going to be your answer, correct answer for question number 4. Okay, question number 5, which expression is equivalent to this one? So what we're going to do is we're going to carefully expand 20w minus, I'm just going to be writing this equation down here, so to show you guys how to expand, we're just going to be expanding. So it's going to be 20w minus 4w minus 3w. Just plug in the values, 20 minus 4 minus 3. Right, just plug it in, and you should be getting a value of roughly 13w. Okay, so your answer here for question number 5 is going to be choice B. It's going to be 13w. Okay. Question number 6. If 6 plus x is equal to 9, what is the value of 18 plus 3x? So first of all, we're just going to be finding out what x is. So x is equivalent to 9 minus 6, which is going to give us a value of roughly 3. So x is equivalent to 3. So it's going to be 18 plus 3 brackets 3 is equivalent to that. So 18 plus 3 brackets 3, and it's going to give you the value of 27. So your answer is just going to be 27. That's it. It's more than enough. 27 is the answer for question number 6. Question number 7. The given equation relates the variables x and y. For what value of x does the value of y reach its minimum? So for this question, what you're going to do is you're going to write down the equation in the form of y is equal to ax squared plus bx plus c. I'm just going to reload the screen again. You're just going to be writing down, you're going to be writing that in that format where a, b, and c are constants. Now the value of y, it only reaches its minimum when x is equal to negative b divided by 2a. Since the given equation is in the form of y equals ax squared plus bx plus c, it follows that when a is equivalent to 1, we know that a here, in this equation given to us, y equals x squared minus 14x plus 22, we know that a is equivalent to 1, we know b is equivalent to negative 14, and we know that c is equivalent to 22. All we need to do is just plug in the values into this formula here. So x is equivalent to negative 14 divided by 1. So this should be, the negatives kind of like cancel out each other, so it just gives you a positive value for your answers. So I'm just going to be plugging these values into the calculator, and you should be getting a roughly value of about 7. For what value of x does y reach its minimum? Your correct answer is going to be x is equivalent to 7. 7 is going to be answer for question number 7. Wow. Okay, question number 8. Which expression is equivalent to this? What you're going to do is just factorize. Oh, it's straightforward. It's just the first one. So it's choice A. If you expand the brackets for choice A, you're going to get, if you just expand it directly, it's 9x squared plus 5x. So it's going to be choice A is going to be your answer for question number 8. Okay. Question number 9. In triangle ABC, the measure of angle B is 52 degrees and the measure of angle C is 17 degrees. What is the measure of angle A? So I'm just going to be drawing a small triangle here so you can see that you can see the visual representation of what we're doing here. So you can see ABC. We know B is 52 degrees. We know that C is 17 degrees. Now if we add up all the angles, remember, the sum of all the angle measures in a triangle is 180 degrees. So all the angles in a triangle, they add up to 180 degrees. So let's just call it as angle A, okay? So angle A plus 52 degrees plus 17 degrees is equivalent to 180 degrees. So angle A is going to be 180 degrees minus 52 plus 17. That's roughly 69 degrees. So 180 minus 69. That's going to give you roughly a value of about 111 degrees. So angle A is going to be 111 degrees. So choice D is going to be your correct answer in this case. Okay. Okay, now question number 10. Question number 10, the graphs of the equation in the given system of equations intersect at a point. Now this is an intersection question, so what you're going to do is you're going to substitute the value of x into the second equation. So I'm just going to be labeling this as equation 1, equation 2. Substitute the value of x equals 8 into equation number 2. So y is equivalent to 8 squared plus 8. This should directly give you the answer. 8 squared plus 8 is going to be 72. So y is equivalent to 72 is going to be the answer. So it's going to be choice D is going to be the correct answer, 72. It's going to be the correct answer to question number 10. Let's move on to question number 11. Question number 11 is about scatter plots. Okay, so the scatter plot shows the relationship between two variables, x and y. A line of best fit is also shown. Which of the following equations best represents a line of best fit shown? So when we're going to find out how much this is increasing by in terms of squares, we're going to be doing 2 divided by 2. This is moving up by 1 square each by the value of 1. Since this is roughly half the point, 13, if we do 14 minus, let's say 14 plus 13 divided by 2, just to find out where this is lying in between, roughly 13.5. This is going to be 13.5 in the y-intercept. That's shown in all the cases here, okay? And we know that the equation of a straight line graph is equivalent to y equals mx plus c. And we know what c is. C is equivalent to 13.5. And since we know that it's not going to be either choice C and D. Those are incorrect because C is not negative 13.5. C, in fact, is a positive value, right? And all we need to do now is just find out the gradient in this case. And it's actually easy to identify the gradient, is because if we know that the gradient here, the gradient for choice A is positive, and the gradient for choice B is negative. So we're going to be choosing choice B because the gradient is negative, as the line is also, it's showing downward. It's a downward line. So that's how we know the gradient is going to be negative. So choice B is going to be your correct answer for question number 11. This is without even using the points, without even finding out the gradient from the graph. We're just observing the graph. We're seeing the trend in the line. And since the line has a negative slope, right? Since the line is moving also in a negative slope form, right? The gradient is negative and the line is a downward line. So that's how we recognize that it's a negative slope. Okay, so yeah, so that's choice B is going to be the correct answer for question number 11. Question number 12, okay? Question number 12 is a function f is defined by f of x is equivalent to 8 squared x. For what value of x does f of x equals 48? So 8 squared x is equivalent to 48. So what we're going to do is square root of x is equivalent to 48 divided by 8. This is going to give you a value, roughly square root x is equivalent to 6. What you're going to do is you're going to square both sides, and you should be getting x is equivalent to 36. X is 36. That's going to be answer in this case. So option choice C is going to be the answer to question number 12. Let's move on to the next question. Question number 13. A circle has center O and points R and S. So we're just going to be drawing out a circle. There's a circle. It has a center O in it, and the points R and S lie on the circle. So we can see R and we can see S. Okay, they lie on the circle. In triangle ORS, yeah, the measure of angle ROS. So we're just going to be drawing a separate triangle here. Actually, rather than drawing the circle, we're just going to be drawing the triangle that we can visually see. ORS. And ROS is 88 degrees. What is the measure of angle RSO? So sorry guys. So for RSO, what we're going to do is, since R and S they both lie on in the circle, what we can do is that OR and OS, they both are radii of the circle, because when they lie in the circle, they both are the radii of the circle. Okay, so what we're going to be doing is that we know that the angle of, let's say, triangle ORS, we know that angle ORS is going to be equivalent to angle RSO, because the reason is because OR and OS, they're radii of the circle. So we're just going to be making them equivalent to X. So X plus X, and by the way, X plus 85, since we know that, plus 88, sorry guys, since we know that all the angles in a triangle, they add up to 180 degrees, we're going to be using that concept. So X is equal to 180 degrees minus 88 divided by 2, since it's 2X, right? So I'm just going to be quickly solving this. Minus 88 divided by 2. This should give you the value of 46 degrees. X is going to be 46 degrees, which we know is angle RSO. Angle RSO is equivalent to 46 degrees. That's going to be the answer for question number 13. Okay. Question number 14. What is the sum of the solutions to the given equation? So, what's the sum of the solutions to the given equation? So what we're going to do is we have to actually expand this. So it's going to become x squared plus x minus 56 is equal to 4x squared minus 7 times 4. That's roughly 28x. Okay, so x squared minus 4x squared plus x plus 28x minus 56 is equal to 0. If you simplify this, it becomes negative 3x squared plus 29x minus 56 equals 0. So we have to find out two values for x, since this is a quadratic equation. We're just going to be plugging in the values in this case. Okay, in this case we're going to just be plugging in the values. Negative 3, positive 29, negative 56. This is giving you the values of x1 as 7 in your calculator and x2 as 8 by 3. And if you add both these solutions together, right, if you do 7 plus 8 by 3, this should be giving you roughly 29 by 3. 29 by 3 is going to be your answer in this case. Yeah, so the correct answer for question number 14 is going to be 29 by 3. Okay? Question number 15. What is the solution to the given system of equations, which is here, and what is the value of 5x? Okay? So here what we're going to do is you're going to substitute the value of y into the second-hand equation. So I'm just going to be labeling this as equation 1 and equation 2. So we're going to substitute the value of y into the second equation, which is going to be 2x plus 3x is equal to 12. 5x is equal to 12. X is equal to 12 by 5. And the value of 5x is going to be equal to 5 times 12 by 5, which is going to give you the value of 12, since they cancel out each other. So the answer here is going to be 12, okay? It's just basic substitution. So option choice C is going to be your answer for question number 15. So yeah, option choice C, which is 12, is going to be your answer for question number 15. Now let's move on to question number 16. So question number 16, how many more questions do we have? 27 minus 16, that's roughly 11 questions more. So a cube has an edge length of 41 inches. What is the volume of the cube? So the volume of a cube is just 41 raised to the power of 3, so it's straightforward. So it's 41 raised to the power of 3 is going to be 68,921. So your answer is going to be choice D. That's going to be answer for question number 16. Now question number 17. The given function P models a population of Lowell T years after a census. Which of the following functions best models the population of Lowell M months after the census? So we can see that there's a function shown, and we can see that which choice best functions it. So here in this choice, by the way, in these choices for question number 17, choice D, right? Choice A, B, C, D. The graph is shown. The equation is shown, and we can see that there's a population of Lowell T years after census. So the functions which best models a population after the census is going to be choice D. Choice D is going to be the correct answer for question number 17. The reason why is because it's given that the function P models the population of Lowell T years after a census. Since there are only 12 months in a year, we know that M months after the census is equivalent to M divided by 12, right? Years after the census. So substituting M divided by 12 for T years, right? For T in the equation, it gives us 90,000 brackets 1.06 raised to the power of M divided by 12. So we substitute the value of T with M divided by 12, which gives us a new function, right? Okay. And therefore the function R, it just best models the population of Lowell M months after the census, is R brackets M is equal to 90,000 brackets 1.06 all raised to the power of M divided by 12. Choice A, B, and C are all incorrect. This is because they may result from conceptual or calculation errors. Okay, so all of these three have calculation errors in them, so just be careful of that. So they all result from conceptual or calculation errors. Whereas choice D is the correct answer. Yeah, choice D is the correct option choice for question number 17. So choice D is correct. Okay. Question number 18, you can see that there are two equations. The solution to the given system of equation is x comma y. What is the value of y? So the best thing here is just plug in these values into your calculator. There's a faster way. I'm just going to be plugging the values in the calculator. So otherwise, I can show you a method actually with just doing elimination method. So elimination method is that you try to make this all equivalent to each other, but in this case I'm just going to be using a calculator. So you just hit that mode button. So if I hit that mode button, calculator is not working. Yeah, okay. So if you hit 5 option 1 in the calculator, so if you input 6, 7, 28, 2, 2, and 10 in your calculator, you should be getting the value of x as 7 and the value of y as -2. So there you go. Using a calculator, you guys can find out the answers for x and y. So 18a is going to be the correct answer. So y is going to become -2. So option choice A is going to be the correct answer for question number 18. By the way, do check out how to find out solutions using two equations using a calculator. It should be somewhere there online for you guys to check out. Okay, for you guys to check it out. Okay, let's move on to question number 19. So the question number 19 is that the minimum value of x is 12 less than 6 times another number n. Which inequality shows the possible values of x? So you can see that the minimum value of x is 12 less than 6 times another number. So we know that it's going to be, since they're using less than, we can choose the options A or B. And since it's written the minimum value of X, these are all the keywords. Since it's written the minimum value of X, it's going to be choice B. So choice B is going to be your answer for question number 19. This is because it's given the minimum value of X is 12 less than 6 times another number of n. So the possible values of X are all greater than or equal to the value of 12, which is less than 6 times n. Now the value of 6 times n is given by the expression 6n, so we know that the value of 12 less than 6n is given by the expression 6n minus 12. So therefore, we know that all the possible values of X are all greater than or equal to 6n minus 12. And this is shown through the inequality, so by X greater than or equal to X 6n minus 12. So option choice B is going to be the correct answer for question number 19. Okay, let's move on to the next question. Next question is question number 20. So question number 20 is that the data set, is there a graph? Okay, there's no graph here. Okay, so data set A consists of the heights of 75 buildings and has a mean of 32 meters. Data set B consists of the heights of 50 buildings and has a mean of 62 meters. Data set C consists of the heights of 125 buildings from data sets A and B. What is the mean in meters of data set C? Okay, so we know that mean is equal to the sum of observations divided by the number of observations. So for data set A, what we're going to be doing is that since we have to find out the total of A, okay, total of A divided by 75 buildings, and it has a mean of 32. We know the total is 75 times 32, which is going to give us a value of 75 times 32. It's going to give us a value of 2,400. This is the total of A. By the way, the total of A is 2,400. Okay. Now we have to find out the total of data set B. Total of B is divided by 50, and it has a mean of 62, right? So we're just going to multiply 62 times 50. This should give us a value of 3,100. So the total of B is equivalent to 3,100. Okay. Now, what is the mean of data set C? Data set C consists of the heights of 125 buildings. So if we add both the buildings of 75 and 50, it gives us 125. So all you need to do is just add 2,400 plus 3,100 divided by 125 buildings. That's going to be your mean of data set C, mean of C, okay? Data set C is going to be equivalent, just plug in the equation, 2400 plus 3100 divided by 125. This is going to give you a value of 44. So the mean in meters of data set C, the correct answer is going to be 44 for question number 20, okay? So the correct answer is going to be 44. Now, question number 21. The graph of 9x minus 10y is equal to 19 is translated down 4 units in the xy plane. Okay. What is the x-coordinate of the x-intercept of the resulting graph? So here we know that it's translated down by 4 units in the xy plane. So we know that the graph is of the equation ax plus by is equivalent to c, where a, b, and c are constants. And it's translated down k units, let's say k units, which is 4 in this case, k units in the xy plane. The resulting graph can be represented by the equation ax plus b brackets y plus k is equivalent to c. Now it's given to us that the graph of 9x minus 10y is equal to 19 is translated down 4 units in the xy plane. So therefore, the resulting graph can be represented in this equation like this. It can be represented as 9x minus 10 brackets y plus 4, which is k is equivalent to 4. The letter k is equivalent to 4, okay? K is equivalent to 4, brackets is equivalent to 19, which is c, okay? Now what you're going to do is that you're just going to simplify this. So it gives you 9x minus 10y minus 40 is equivalent to 19. And when you add 19 and 40 together, 19 plus 40, that should give you 59. So it becomes 9x minus 10y is equivalent to 59. Okay? And we know that the x-coordinate of the x-intercept of the graph equation in the xy plane is the value of x in the equation when y is equivalent to 0. So 9x minus 10 brackets 0 is equal to 59. And we know that x is equivalent to 59 divided by 9, okay? Which is going to be 59 divided by 9 is roughly, yeah, it doesn't simplify much. So your correct answer here, the correct answer is going to be 59 by 9. That's going to be your correct answer for question number 29. 59 by 9. Okay, question number 22 is that two variables x and y are related such that for each increase of 1 in the value of x, the value of y increases by a factor of 4. When x is equivalent to 0, y is equivalent to 200. Which equation represents this relationship? So we have two variables. There's or related such that for each increase of 1 in the value of x and the value of y. So the value of x increases by the value of 1, and the value of y increases by a factor of 4. So when x equals 0, y is equal to 200. Okay, so this is kind of reasonable. The reason is because what we're going to do is, since they've given us the value of x and y, we just need to substitute it for each choice given. So it's not going to be choice A, B, or C. If we test out choice D, y equals 200 brackets 4 by x. Let me just reload the screen again. When we test this out, y is equivalent to 200 brackets 4 raised to power x, which is given here in the question as 0. If we plug this into the calculator directly, we get the answer as y is equivalent to 200. So it does prove that option D is the correct answer for question number 22. So that's a faster way of solving this. So D is going to be your correct answer. Choice D is going to be the correct answer for question number 22. Now question number 23. Okay, let's move on to question number 23. Okay, so 23 is one solution to the given equation can be written as 1 plus square root k, where k is a constant. What is the value of k? This is very easy. All you need to do is just plug in this equation into your calculator and just find out the x values. So you have 1, -2, and -9, okay? So your x1 value is going to be 1 plus square root 10. Your x2 value is going to be 1 minus square root 10. We're going to be using the first one, the first value of x. So just cut out the other value of x2. And we know that k is equivalent to 10. So for question number 23, the answer, choice B, is going to be the correct answer for question number 23. And the answer for k is 10. Yeah, okay. Let's move on to question number 24. Now we can see that there are some dot plots. They represent the distributions of values in data sets A and B. Which of the following statements must be true? So you can see data set A and data set B. The median of data set A is equivalent to the median of data set B. The standard deviation of data set A is equivalent to the standard deviation of data set B. So out of this, how do we recognize this? This is either through the calculation of the standard deviation of the dot plots. So that's what we're going to be doing. So we can see that which of the following statements must be true. The median of data set A. So it's actually going to be choice A. Choice A is going to be the correct answer for question number 24. The median of data set A is correct. Now, the reason why I'm going to be giving you the reasons why choice A is the correct answer for question number 24 is because if you look at the median data set is with an odd number of values, okay? That are both in ascending or descending order, which is, okay, let me give you a general idea of this. So the median of data set with an odd number of values is that are in ascending or descending order is the middle value of the data set. Since the distribution values of both dataset A and dataset B, they form symmetric dot plots, and each data has an odd number of values, you can see that it follows that the median is given by the middle value in each of the dot plots. So thus, the median, let's say the median of the dataset A is 13. So if you calculate it, you should be getting the median as 13, and the median of dataset B is also 13 when you calculate it. So I'm just going to be showing you how. So if you just cut out the dot plots, right? Cut it from the top to bottom. Just cut all of this out. Cut it out, cut it out. Cut. There you go. You get the value of 13 for dataset A is 13. Do the same thing in dataset B. Cross all of this out. Yeah, cross it in. And then, yeah, cross out all the other values. And then you should get the median as also for dataset B as 13. So you can see it in this case that the median of dataset A and B is 13 for both. So therefore, statement 1 is true. That's why choice A is the correct answer for question number 24. Now, for dataset A and dataset B, they have the same frequency for each of the values 11, 12, 14, and 15. Okay, have you noticed that? If you look at the pattern, it's the same number set of values, right? And since we know that dataset A has a frequency of 1 for values 10 and 16, whereas dataset B has a frequency of 2 for values 10 and 16. And we know that standard deviation is a measure of the spread of the dataset. So it's larger when there are more values further from the mean and smaller when there are more values closer to the mean. So since both distributions are symmetric with odd number of values, the mean of each data set is equivalent to its median. So thus, each data set has a mean of 13. Since more of the values in data set A are closer to 13 than data set B, right, it follows that data set A has a smaller standard deviation than data set B. So, statement 2 is false, so therefore only statement 1 must be true. So that's why choice A is the correct answer to question number 24, okay? Now let's move on to question number 25. Question number 25 is that you can see that there's an isosceles right angle triangle which has a perimeter of 94 plus 94 square root 2 inches. What is the length in inches of one leg of this triangle? So if you draw an isosceles right triangle, it looks like this, kind of like where both sides are equivalent to each other. And we know the perimeter. In order to find out what's one leg of this triangle, it's given to us that the right angle triangle is isosceles. So in an isosceles triangles, the two legs have equal lengths, and the length of the hypotenuse is square root 2. Okay, since we know that it's 94, we know that it has a perimeter. Okay, and from here we can make out that the two legs have equal lengths, and the length of the hypotenuse is square root 2 times the length of one of the legs. So we can say that let L represent the length in inches of each leg in an isosceles right angle triangle. It follows that the length of the hypotenuse is L square root 2, right? Okay, inches. Now the perimeter of the figure is the sum of the lengths of the side of this figure. So therefore the perimeter of the isosceles right angle triangle should be L plus L square root 2. Alright, so since it's given to us as the perimeter is 94 plus 94 square root 2 inches, it follows the same concept as 94 plus 94 square root 2. So if we factorize the left hand side of this equation, it gives us, let's say if we factorize this, right, we're just going to be making this equivalent to each other. So let me just rewrite this in a correct form. So L plus L square root 2 is going to be equivalent to 94 plus 94 square root 2. Okay, so then what we're going to do is we're going to factorize the left hand side. So it's going to become 1 plus square root 2. L is equal to 94 plus 94 square root 2. And if we add this, it becomes 2 plus square root 2. L is equal to 94 plus 94 square root 2. Now you're going to divide both sides by the equation 2 plus square root 2. So L is equal to 94 plus 94 square root 2 divided by 2 plus square root 2. If you plug in these values in your calculator, I'm just going to be doing that. So square root 2 plus square root 2, it's going to be giving us 47 square root 2. Okay, this is going to be answer for your value of L. So L is going to become 47 square root 2. So option choice B which is closest to this value 47 squared 2. That's going to be your answer. So option choice B is going to be the correct answer for question number 25. Option choice B is going to be the correct answer, yeah, for question number 25. And the value is 47 squared 2. Now let's move on to question number 26. Okay, question number 26 is that in the given equation, C is a constant. The equation has exactly one solution. What is the value of C? So we're going to be using ax squared plus bx plus c is equivalent to 0. So we know that a is equivalent to -9, b is equivalent to 30, c is equivalent to c, which is not given and which is not found. Since we know that this has exactly one solution, we know that b squared minus 4ac is equivalent to 0. That's exactly for only one solution. So we can substitute the values of b, a, and c. So it's 30 squared minus 4 brackets 9 minus 9. Sorry, 30 squared minus 4 brackets minus 9. Bracket c is going to 0. So if we, by the way, this formula is for finding out quadratic equations which exactly have one solution. So 30 squared is going to be 900, and minus 4 times minus 9 is going to be positive 36c is equal to 0. So it's going to be 36c is equal to negative 900. C is equal to negative 900 divided by 36. And you're going to find out the value of c, which is negative 900 divided by 36, which is going to be given to you as negative 25. So your answer is going to be, the value of c is going to be negative 25. Negative 25 is going to be the value of c. So the option choice C is going to be the correct answer for question number 26, which has the value as negative 25. Yeah, okay. Now we're in the final part of the question number 26 of module 2. So you can see in the given system of equations, P is a constant. If the system has no solution, what is the value of P? This is a very interesting question for the final question. Is that what we have to do is that since we see that there's a system of two linear equations and two variables, x and y, it has no solution if these lines are represented by the equation's xy plane and they're parallel. Okay? So since they have no solution, right? It's only if the lines are represented by equations of the xy plane that they're parallel and distinct. So lines that are represented by equations, let's say in the standard form, such as ax plus by is equivalent to c, and dx plus ey is equivalent to f. They're parallel only if the coefficients x and f in one equation are proportional to the corresponding coefficients in the other equation. Meaning, let's say that d divided by a is equivalent to e divided by b, and the lines are distinct if the constants are proportional. So meaning f of c is not equivalent to d by a or e by b. So the first equation in the given system, I'm just going to be labeling this as equation 1 and equation 2. The first equation in the given system is given as 3y minus quarter x equal to 2 by 3 minus 3 by 2y. So if we multiply each of these equations by 12, right? So what I would like you guys to do is either do the LCM method. Let me just try the LCM method here. So you can see 2 1 2 3 by 1 2 1 1 3 1 3 1 comma 1 comma 1 comma 1. And if we do 2 times, if we do the LCM method, okay, you guys can check it out. It's the lowest common multiple. So the LCM here is going to be 2 times 2 times 3, which is going to be 2 times 2 times 3, which is going to be giving you as 12. So you're going to multiply the first equation all by 12, right? Just to remove all the denominators. That's the first thing what we're going to be doing. So you have 3 by 2y minus quarter x is equal to 2 by 3 minus 3 by 2y. You're going to multiply it all by 12, all of it. So 3 by 2 multiplied by 12. That's just going to be doing, I'm just going to be solving it. So you have 18y minus 12 divided by 4, which is minus 3x is equivalent to 2 by 3 times 12. It's given to you as 8 minus 3 by 12. 3 by 2 times 12 is given you as negative 18y. 18y. If you 18y plus 18y minus 3x is equivalent to 8. This should be giving you as 18 plus 18, which is giving you as 36y minus 3x is equivalent to 8. Okay? Now the second equation, hopefully we have space here. Now the second equation is given by the system. So if you read here, the second equation is given by the system. Half x plus 3 by 2 is equivalent to py plus 9 by 2, right? And here, if we multiply each side of the equation by 2, here the LCM, by the way, here the LCM is 2. So what you're going to do is you're going to multiply all of this, each side of this equation by 2, okay? Which is going to give you x plus 3 is equivalent to 2 py plus 9. And if you're going to subtract 2p from each side of this equation, it's just going to give you x plus 3 minus 2py is equal to 9, right? And if you're going to be subtracting 3 from the other side, it's just going to be giving you x minus 2py is equal to 9 minus 3, which is going to be giving you 6. So we have two equations here. We have this equation and we have this equation. We have 36. I'm just going to be writing it down here. 36y minus 3x is equal to 8. X minus 2py is equal to 6. Okay? Since we know, as previously stated, if the system has no if the system has no solution, the lines represented by the equations of the xy plane are parallel and distinct. So meaning that the proportions should be with each other, right? So meaning that's going to be, since these are the two equations, I'm just going to be rewriting this, as negative 3x plus 36y is equivalent to 8. And x minus 2py is equivalent to 6. So it's going to be deleting this part here. Okay, I'm just going to be reloading the system again. I'm just going to be writing it down nicely. So negative 3x plus 36y is equivalent to 8. X minus 2py is equivalent to 6. So if you rub out this part here, okay. So now what you're going to be doing is you're going to be doing 1 divided by negative 3, which is going to be equivalent to negative 2p divided by 36. And which is going to be giving you a relation of which is going to give you negative 1 by 3 is equivalent to negative p by 18. Okay, so now this is true and the proportion is correct, so it's all correct. So what we're going to be doing is you're going to be finding out the value of p, right? So we're just going to multiply it, and it's going to be negative 3p is equivalent to negative 18. So p is equal to negative 18 divided by negative 3, which is going to give you a value of negative 18 divided by negative 3, which is going to be giving you a value of roughly 6. So p is equivalent to 6. There you go. We're just using the proportions, and we're just using the proportions here. So the value of p for question number 27 is going to be for question number 27, the answer is going to be 6. So p is going to be equivalent to 6, and that is the correct answer for question number 27. So all we did was we just put the two equations together. We found out the LCM. We just made them more whole numbers. Okay, so we just removed the denominators, and then we just created proportions and ratios. And then we have found out the value of p, which is the value of p is 6. And that's the correct answer for question number 27. The answer is 6. The answer is 6 for question number 27. Okay, so this seems to be about the end of all the questions. If you guys have enjoyed the video, please do like, share, and subscribe. The channel, it really helps a lot. And time codes are in the description box there, so that you guys can switch to between module 1 and module 2 if you guys want to see which one's which. And do comment below on what your thoughts are about this video. And new content will be posted soon. And I think that's it. All right, bye guys.